Sleep deprivation. Is Western an enabler? Western University, like many other schools, has programs and policies set in place which enable late-night schoolwork and sleep deprivation. For instance, during high-volume academic workloads, libraries extend their operation hours to 24 hours a day, and on-campus coffee shops extend their hours as well. The Ivy Business School pressures students to finish lengthy group projects in 48 hours, which leaves students sleepless for 2 days. University Student Council offers a free pancake breakfast at the UCC starting at midnight. All of these allude to the health issue of the school's role in enabling sleep deprivation through high academic periods such as exams, midterms, and end-of-semester demands. Trends within the general Canadian population for the millennial age group, ages 18 to 34, have shown that the average amount of sleep one receives on a general night is approximately 7 to 8 hours, with 74% of the population affirming this. When there is more pressure to complete tasks, 56% said they would cut down on the amount of hours they sleep in order to accomplish everything. While most Canadians acknowledge that sleep deprivation is an issue, other things, such as school and work, tend to take priority. During high-volume academic periods, the pressure to complete tasks worsens sleep deprivation among university students. Sleep deprivation is defined as obtaining inadequate sleep to support adequate daytime alertness. This can be acute or chronic. This problem can be quite serious and can have detrimental biological, cognitive, and mental effects for many students. Biologically, university-age students have a delayed circadian rhythm, causing them to naturally feel more awake in the evening, which hinders their ability to fall asleep earlier. Additionally, morning classes may lead students to be unable to achieve an adequate amount of sleep. Therefore, university students with early morning classes may not have the last 1 to 2 REM sleep periods, which can adversely affect their procedural memory. Sleep is necessary for the regeneration and rejuvenation of one's body. It helps to prevent illness and to refresh one for optimal productivity. The brain especially needs sleep in order to maintain optimal functioning for memory retention and overall learning. The prefrontal cortex, in particular, which controls the functioning for judgment, impulse control, attention, and visual association, needs sleep to regenerate. The longer one stays awake, the more active the prefrontal cortex is, causing it to work harder to perform properly. When awake for longer, one needs to sleep for extended periods of time for the prefrontal cortex to regenerate. Therefore, when one is sleep deprived, the prefrontal cortex is not being afforded the time it needs to regenerate itself. As Wolfson and Karskadin show, shortened total sleep time, erratic sleep or wake schedules, late bed and rise times, and poor sleep quality are negatively associated with academic performance for university students. While students may compromise sleep during busy times, it can have converse effects on both their health and overall academic performance. Another factor related to performing well academically is one's cognitive ability. High cognitive functioning is needed to perform well in school and can be affected by sleep deprivation. Specifically, it affects the encoding process prior to learning and the creation of memory post-learning as well. When attempting to complete a complex task, sleep-deprived students performed worse than non-sleep-deprived individuals, despite believing they were working and concentrating harder. Those who were sleep-deprived performed 18% worse and had troubles completing academic work that involved inferences, recognition of assumptions, and deductions. Additionally, sleep deprivation can worsen one's mental health. Society has increasingly considered the issue of mental health and how it impacts individuals' lives. In a survey we conducted of the Western student population, approximately 61% of individuals reported anxiety and 68% reported stress in relation to their academics. On an average night, during less demanding academic times, 62% of students reported getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, yet when school became more demanding, this dropped to 23%. This is similar to the data found for the millennial population in Canada. If students are already stressed and feeling anxious, and if adequate quantity and quality of sleep is fundamental to psychological and psychiatric stability, then when students are sleeping less, their mental health will likely decline further. Students are already at a compromised state, and the education institutions, by creating these periods of intense work, enable this increase in stress, anxiety, and sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation affects one's well-being in noticeable ways. It is clearly a serious issue in today's society, particularly on university campuses. Students of university age especially need enough quality sleep as they are consistently exercising their brains. As sleep aids one's concentration and retention of information, it is necessary and important for universities to promote adequate sleep behaviors. However, not only does Western not promote healthy sleep behaviors, they enable the opposite. By having policies such as the library opening for 24 hours during exam periods, they create an environment in which these behaviors can persist. Having the library open for 24 hours is not the only policy that Western has enacted that promotes an environment that leads students to forgo sleep in order to complete their schoolwork. Western's exam policy states that if one has 3 or more exams or mid-year tests scheduled with 3 consecutive periods of 23 hours, then you are eligible to move an exam. So if an individual had exams on the same day at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and an exam at 9 a.m. the next day, they would be eligible to move that exam. But if they had an exam at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the first day and one at 9 a.m. the second day, they would not be eligible, as it is neither 3 consecutive periods nor 23 hours. The difference of 1 hour is what changes a student's eligibility, which seems small but could have a drastic effect on sleep levels and potential sleep deprivation. The addition of an extra exam in the same time period, less an hour, can arguably cause one to spend more time studying and less time sleeping. While Western policies may contribute to sleep deprivation among students, there are comparable policies across Canadian universities. This means that it's probable students across Ontario may also be experiencing similar stresses. At Ryerson, they ensure that students will not be required to write more than 2 exams in one calendar day. At Laurier, students are not normally required to complete more than 2 final exams in a 24-hour period. In order to receive accommodation, the third problematic exam must finish within 24 hours of the beginning of the first. This is the best exam policy we examine for Ontario universities because a student can defer an exam if they simply have 3 exams within 24 hours, no matter where that 24-hour period falls. Unfortunately, while this is the best, none of these policies are good for students' health. These still amount to having an extreme workload in a very short time. These policies may induce stress and limit students' ability to properly sleep and study. Consequently, performing other healthy behaviors becomes difficult. As Lund and colleagues mention, students overwhelmingly state that emotional and academic stress negatively impact sleep. These policies may increase stress, which further contributes to sleep deprivation. While policies enabling sleep deprivation, such as these, seem easy to fix, for example, by shortening library hours or altering exam policies, this does not necessarily eliminate the problem. Students may still believe that they need to stay up late, thus forfeiting their sleep in order to complete their enormous workloads. As London colleagues mention, sleep-deprived students may resort to over-the-counter recreational drugs, such as Adderall or Vyvanse, to alter their sleep or wakefulness. These alternatives may end up having more harmful effects. An overconsumption of caffeine may also occur, making it harder for students to fall or stay asleep. Ultimately, these are symptoms of a larger problem, pointing to an overall structural issue regarding the workload at universities. Students are subjected to an intense period of examinations and due dates each year during midterms and finals, necessitating unhealthy sleep patterns. As our findings suggest, not only is the current method of assessing students harmful to their health, it may also not be the most effective way to learn. Therefore, sleep deprivation is a prevalent concern that contributes to health issues on many campuses. The underlying factor that may be affecting sleep deprivation is the use of exams, both midterms and finals. As research suggests, the pressure of doing well on exams and completing other coursework can place students in a position where they feel they have no other option but to stay awake in order to complete their work. Hence, the health issue of sleep deprivation may be a side effect of the stress associated with exams and other periods of increased course requirements. As discussed, there are negative effects that exams have on students' sleep schedules, but are they justifiable if students are benefiting from the exams? Studies have shown that students who consistently review material retain it better than those who cram at the end of the semester. Instead of writing major exams, which tend to involve significant amounts of material and have a high grade weighting, students could write quizzes every few weeks. These quizzes would include less material and be less weighted. Not only would this encourage students to learn as they go, but it would also decrease stress. In turn, students may not feel the need to compromise sleep in order to study. This may also allow students to maintain other healthy behaviors throughout the semester, such as exercising and other activities that may improve their mental health. University students are already at a compromised state. The academic workload is demanding enough as it is. The added pressure of high-volume academic periods with heavily weighted tasks only worsens the problem. While it is possible for students to be proactive and prepared for exams, it is not possible to get around the university exams policies. 3 exams in 23 hours may still be stressful, regardless of how prepared one may be. However, as demonstrated by ours and other research, the typical student does not achieve this due to factors such as work, volunteer, extracurriculars, and socialization. Further, seeking academic accommodation to defer an exam can be a lengthy and stressful process in itself. We suggest that adapting the structure of coursework and exam makeup to something that is more manageable for students may be a better alternative. Not only could this benefit students' health, it may also have a positive effect on their grades. From an academic standpoint, replacing exams with smaller, more frequent quizzes may increase students' learning and recall capabilities. Thus, evening out the workload throughout the semester may prevent sleep deprivation by allowing students to get more sleep and improving their school performance. We can see that these suggestions are effective when we look at education on a global scale, specifically by looking at the success in Finland. From a young age, students are not subject to large examinations to evaluate their knowledge. The only mandatory exam they have occurs at the end of their final year in high school. Teachers are given the autonomy to assess their students how they see fit. There is no board or government mandated manner of evaluation. These professors are not forced to evaluate students in the same way as other classes or prepare students for standardized testing. Despite the lack of preparation, when taking the PISA, a standardized test given to 15-year-olds in more than 40 global venues, Finnish youth were deemed the best young readers in the world. They also led in the maths and sciences among students worldwide. Despite never taking large examinations or standardized testing, they outperform students from countries that use heavily weighted examinations and standardized testing. Using alternate methods, some being similar to those we recommended earlier, these students not only report better academic standing, but are known to have one of the highest standards of living in the world, health included. At Western, most classes are exam-centric with 2 to 3 heavily weighted assignments. Classes, such as this one, that lack both finals and midterms are an exception to this trend. We found that the university prefers classes to be structured around exams, making professors who wish to forego final examinations fill out paperwork, which makes it tedious to structure courses in any other way. We believe professors should be given more autonomy to structure class assessments the way they find most appropriate. If exams cannot be eliminated, weighting them less than the common 30 to 50% exams could be a way to reduce stress among students. Having a more consistent workload throughout the semester, perhaps through participation, lab activities, or small class activities, may create a culture of constant material review so students are better able to recall what they have learned in the future. As mentioned, the pressure and stress associated with high-volume academic periods is neither effective for students' health or knowledge. By altering school policies and the structure of the academic calendar, we hope to reduce sleep deprivation by removing the pressures associated with highly weighted exams centered around a single time. It may take more than just the policy changes, but an overhaul of the Canadian educational system. Perhaps Canada should look to countries like Finland in order to enhance health and reduce sleep deprivation among students. Maybe the educational institution is the enabler.